And welcome back to KTN News Desk. I'm Michael Karanja. Now, information and innovation actually plays a key role in the way companies do and become more efficient. And just to help us understand more about how technology and innovation is used by companies, I'm now joined by Harry, who's the Managing Director for CIO East Africa. And first off the bat, innovation. Can companies do without innovating the way they do things?
They can, but then what does that leave them at? It means if they don't innovate, then they won't have cutting-edge stuff, so competition will come and bypass them.
Yeah.
If they don't innovate, then they'll be using old practices, and therefore they won't have competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So innovation it's become something that companies can no longer just talk about, but they have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just looking at the ways companies put in place systems, then how important is that role for chief information officers in terms of just making sure that everything is up and running, just to ensure that company, first of all, is running efficiently, profitably, and delivers the kind of goals that they set out for?
I think what we're seeing is for a very long time, the role of the CIO has been sort of misunderstood. Because you see, the role of the CIO is actually to if I maybe a backup and say the CIO is supposed to have two brains. Yeah, it's supposed to have two brains: a business brain and a technology brain.
Yeah.
Because this is a person who now brings together, looks at the business objectives, looks at the business requirements, then the same guy understands technology, and therefore looks for the appropriate technology solutions which can answer to the business requirements and needs.
Yeah.
You see, so the CIO is somebody who is supposed to be very vast in terms of knowledge, understanding business, not just technology, and we're seeing companies now waking up to that reality. That hey, it's not just about buying tech, but you're supposed to buy tech and relate it to what we want to do in business.
Just looking at, there's so many startups coming up, and the government is all about entrepreneurship and guys going out on their own. But do they have the kind of competencies and abilities to kind of deploy the technologies that are required just to ensure that the company is headed in the right direction?
I think there's sort of it's a hit and miss.
Yeah.
In the sense that there's some very good companies, some very good startups, entrepreneurs and startups, because I also work with startups. So there's some very good startups that have really good technology. But there's also a lot of startups who are building things that may not necessarily be used by anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could almost say that there's like a gap where you have these guys who are producing something that these guys don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's need for the innovation and startup ecosystem to work with the corporates and the technology buyers to try and bridge that gap, where the buyers can talk to the guys who are building these technology solutions, and so that these guys know exactly what these guys are looking for. It's the same story with, for instance, university education and the corporate world, yeah, where the universities are producing graduates which cannot fit in the corporate world. So it's the same kind of problem that we have.
All right. Now, your company's been running the CIO 100 awards, top 100 awards for the last, 4 years now?
Yeah.
And here we're heading into November, I think, when you're going to be hosting this year's event. What is the theme for this year's event, and how important is this awards in just highlighting to what companies need to address in terms of creating efficiency?
So the theme is measuring enterprise innovation.
Yep.
So we're going back to the story, the innovation story.
Yeah.
And why we're doing that is because we want companies to wake up to the fact that they've got to innovate if they want to be competitive. Because you see, the market has become smaller in the sense that you're competing with a guy from China. You're no longer competing with a guy who's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless you come up with solutions, unless you come up with products that are that competitive, unless your systems
working in your favor.
You are working in your favor, are able to get the product out when it's supposed to be out, then you won't be able to compete at a global stage. Right. So what we're trying to do is, these awards are supposed to catalyze that thinking. Yeah, so we are getting people to start looking at the kind of solutions that they're developing versus their business objectives and deliverables. Right. Yeah.
Just looking at, let me put you on the spot here, just briefly. Very many companies in Kenya. Perhaps which companies have you observed that are actually very highly innovative and are actually getting the desired results? Not in any particular order.
You're putting me on the spot because they're all my friends. I speak to all the CEOs, but probably I can. What I could do is not mention companies, but probably mention sectors.
Sectors, yeah.
I think the sector that we are seeing a lot of movement is actually, surprisingly, the manufacturing sector. These are the guys who are investing heavily into tech. But it's also because of the complexity of the nature of the business. But we're also seeing quite a bit of investment in the hospitality sector, because also these guys also need to be able to to talk to their customer regularly and also offer them the different services that they have efficiently and when they need them.
All right, thank you very much, Harry.
Yeah.
That has been Harry from CIO East Africa, just telling us about innovation and how it plays a key role in making your company more efficient.